Hi guys and welcome. These are your handover videos for your Sprite Super Quattro VB. These are essentially a basic walkthrough on how to set up and operate the caravan as if you were coming on or off site. So starting off first, you have your black hitch head here and black cleaver, which has to be pulled up to then wind down the jockey wheel onto the tow ball. Once it's down, that black handle will snap down, push up that red button and expose a green ring. You then have a breakaway cable just here. If you have an eye point, it has to be used. If not, wrap it around the tow bar. You've got your handbrake just here. Then you do also have 13-pin electric. 2 points either side and 2 points at the back. You have inserts for your legs. The caravan itself does come with a leg winder, or you can get yourself a 19mm drill bit and a power drill just to make it that bit quicker. Do not attempt to jack up or level the caravan using your legs. They're simply used for stabilisation. Just here I have a red propane gas bottle connecting with an in-date gas hose onto this regulator. The regulator itself, you can hand tighten the gas hose to an extent, then once you finish, nip it up using a spanner. You don't want it ridiculously tight because there is an O-ring inside which puts a lot of pressure on it, which can cause it to crack and break. So just essentially nip it up. Then on the opposing side, starting off first, I have an Quattro full of clean drinking water and your water pump. The water pump connects in by just pressing in, and to remove it, press in on the trigger and pull out just like so. You then have this blue cap to go over the top of the Quattro to ensure no nastiness gets in. And at the bottom, we have your strainer. Now it's crucial that the strainer does sit at the bottom of the barrel, as otherwise it can lead to coughs, gasps and splutters. My recommendation is to get some PVC tubing or something like that to wrap it around the bottom, as they do have a tendency to curl up. Just here we have your flue. Your flue is used to get clean air in and out of your boiler. Don't have to do anything with this except make sure it's nice, clean and tidy. This example does have a battery fitted. Now this is with the Swift command board, so you will need a battery to stabilize it. However, to remove it, there's two terminals on the top which you can take off using a 12 or 13mm spanner. You then have a plug-in for your mains just here. Mains plugs in nice and easy, and then you have a bit of a cutout to feed the mains lead through to be able to shut it up. And lastly, we have your toilet function. So just here we have 2 points where your wastewater is going to come out of. You'll need some 28.5mm waste pipe to then feed into a waste master that you can empty out at the appropriate point on site. Just here we have your cassette toilet. To remove this, press up on the handle and pull out just like so. Now this handle does also extend out and up, so it can be used similar to a carry-on suitcase. What you want to do, twist that head to the side, open up that cap just there. You want to tilt, and at the same time as tilting, continually press in the vent button. You can then do what is my recommendation: open up this compartment, feed in some fresh water, and again give it a bit of a tilt and a vent. Then on this cap here you have measurements in both imperial and metric, and that is for your blue chemical. Blue chemical goes into that cap, twist it back to the side, push it in. So essentially that handle sits behind the white teeth, so then it can't be removed without pressing it up. Then just here we have your flush tank. The tank itself can hold around 12 litres of water, however I wouldn't recommend putting in any more than 10, as you don't want to overfill the compartment. You can also add a little bit of pink chemical, which works as a bleach without being corrosive and makes it smell a bit nicer. Now you don't want to travel with either of these two full, so just up here got a little bung to drain off the remaining water from the flush tank. I was doing so well. The caravan itself will be fully drained off before you leave with it. Then underneath your bed just here you have your drain valve. Now when you pick up the caravan, that will be in the vertical position, which is the drain position. You need it in the horizontal as it is now to allow the flow of water to come through. Switch it up to the vertical anytime you come off site. November to March, have that up permanently unless you're actively using the caravan, and just make sure you do drain it off because water sloshing around the system can do damage. You also have your flow jets, which are able to pull through the water from outside. You have your battery charger just on the side here. Then on the top we have both your drips all in the upright position and fuses. Now I'd always recommend to carry a few extra fuses inside the van just in case one blows. Then you can see heating and hot water and charger are both illuminated, showing that they're both active and working. You then have a reverse polarity button if you ever go abroad, and a system shutdown button. Press that in, nothing inside the caravan is able to operate. And just here we have your Swift command board, which is your main control system. Turns on using that button, and it's essentially an iPad from here. Now there are some connections that you can get online to be able to do this via Bluetooth, but I always find it's best to do it just straight from the panel. It tells you the current internal temperature, and then it tells you the external temperature. However, it isn't at 125 degrees. It is a case that that is slightly off. Well, slightly, yeah. And then you have your humidity outside, date, time, and leisure battery voltage. Now, first up, you've got your pump. Press that in. Gets a blue border around it, and essentially that begins to fill up your boiler, which is underneath here. Bit of an awkward bit to get to, but it's underneath there, and it pulls through the water from outside to the boiler itself. And anytime you open up a tap, essentially what it does, it replaces the water, and you can hear it get sucked through into the boiler itself. As I've just turned that on though, we are going to let it wait about 2 to 3 minutes. Next up, warning light, press it in, yellow border comes on. You can see that's on there. You then have lighting. So there's 2 different options. You've got dimmer 1 and dimmer 2. Press in on both of them, turns them both off. Dimmer 1, press in. Then dimmer 2. Press in there, and then you can dim the light. So you can see it gradually get a little bit darker. That's 5, so that's the lowest. And going back up to 100. Next up, you have power. So this is the amount of power coming in. So right now it says 14.2 volts are coming into the caravan. That is not from your leisure battery. That is from the mixture of mains and leisure battery. When you only have a leisure battery on, that will give you an accurate representation. The amount coming from solar and the amount coming from vehicle. Then you have the AC current, and you can also set a limit for the amount coming in. You then have settings here. So these are your general settings. So time, date, screen brightness, day, bit of Bluetooth connectivity, key beep. So when you press in, it will essentially beep up, and a night mode. However, if I go back to home and press and hold continually on this, it will go to your advanced settings. Now, I wouldn't recommend fiddling about with this until you've had a look inside your book pack. And I also wouldn't recommend changing any of these. So you can control the fridge from this, and you can also control the heating. But to be honest, for the sake of 2 seconds of coming down and doing that, there's not much point, because it can just screw things up. So that's how you get 2 additional settings if you want to get there. Then have radio. So you have your module just here, which you can tune and scan like any type of normal radio. You have your different modes: FM, DAB, aux, or off. You do have your connection for your aux just next to it. And that's the panel itself. Now, with regards to the water, come over to your sink, open up on both cold and hot. What you're looking for is a nice, steady, continuous stream. Essentially, you want to let this run for around about 30 seconds and get this nice, steady, continuous stream. If there's any coughs or splutters, go outside and ensure that the strainer's at the bottom of the barrel, your drain valve's in the correct position, and your act roll does have plenty of water. Now, as you can hear, it replaces the water that has been taken out through into the boiler itself, and once it's full, it will shut up. And then, as you can see, it does it again whenever I turn on the tap. So turn on the tap, nice strong stream, and you can hear it get pulled through. And just next to it, we have your Truma control. So this is for your heating and hot water. You've got a back button, you've got a dial, which is also a button. So first up, we have the internal temperature of the caravan that you desire. Goes up to a maximum of 30. Whatever you select, you press in. Now you'll also see on the top row, it shows that the heating is on. We're currently using gas and it's 1 fan. So if I go next to water heat, I've got Eco, which will get the water temperature to 40 degrees. Hot, which will get it to 60 degrees, or Boost. Boost will prioritise the water heat over the heating of the actual caravan for around about 15 minutes, and then drop it back down to Eco afterwards. Then I've got energy source, so I can either use gas, a mixture of gas and 1 kilowatt, a mixture of gas and 2 kilowatt, strictly electric with 1 kilowatt, or strictly electric with 2 kilowatt. So I'm going to select that for now. Then we have fan speed, so we either have, there we go, Eco or high or boost. So again, similar to the boost setting on that, it's going to prioritise the fan speed and make it so it's nice and hot inside the van. However, if I go and turn off the heating, so let's just take that down to off and go back to fan, I've got off or vent. Now what vent does, it circulates the air across the caravan. So if you were to have all your windows open, it means that you can get a nice bit of fresh air inside. Next, you've got a timer. So this allows you to set when you'd like the heating and hot water to come on and off. So you first input the start time and then the finish time. Then you've got the time. So it's currently not midnight, so just select the correct time whenever you come to the van. Then you've got the spanner. This is for your additional settings. Again, similar to this, I'm not going to run through this as we have set it to what we believe is the most user-friendly to use. However, please have a look inside your book pack if you'd like to know a bit more. Then naturally this screen will go green just so it doesn't disturb you whilst you sleep. However, if you want to turn this completely off, press and hold in on the dial, turns itself off, and there we go. Then just here we have your hob grill and oven. So all of this operates on gas. Press in the dial, twist it to the side, press the igniter. Maybe a case that when you initially flame up, it will turn itself off. That's just the gas making its way through the system. So this is what it looks like when they're all lit. And so you can see all your flames nice and lit. Turn it off back to the central position. Same concept for the grill, so let's see if I can do all of this with one hand. Nice and lit there. And lastly, we have your oven, so let's press that in. Oven nice and lit there as well. Only other real thing to note, you can travel with your gas hose on, but make sure the bottle is off. And you need to travel with this glass sheet down, but don't put it down until all the burners are cold to the touch. Next up, we have your fridge. So to turn on the fridge, you press and hold on this button just here. It will flash up and go to its most recent memory, which in this case was gas on full capacity. Now with regards to gas, it will gradually begin to tick in. Then once it's finished ticking, that means it is then lit. I wouldn't recommend putting on gas until you've checked all of your hob appliances first though. I then can change my source by pressing this button. Press in, goes over to mains. Press it again, goes to auto, and auto chooses that mains is the best source to use, so automatically switches over to that. Now when I press it one more time, it's going to go over to the battery symbol, which is representative of 13-pin electric. So you don't have this set up and on unless you're actively plugged in to your car. So this is what it looks like when there's a hazard. It begins to flash up and beep at you. So switch that back over. Then you have the amount of power coming into the fridge. So 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. 5 being the most powerful, so it's going to chill it the quickest. Now it does take around 4 hours for the fridge to fully chill. And essentially when you want to turn this off, press and hold in. No more LEDs, means it's off. And just here we have your toilet operation, which is box simple. Press in this button and you can hear that motor. That motor is what will push around any water inside the system. To remove the waste, press away on the handle and pull it back towards you so that you're actually able to take out the cassette toilet. Then essentially you'll have a red button come up here telling you to empty the cassette when it's full.